mind and one for the intelligent as fellas get. Listen, let's settle this. Be clear, I could fall back 7 years, still it ain't no one ahead of me. Consider it a blessing if you get to stand next to me. 5-star general, OG veteran, cake like.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. So we got a little drive and talk here today on the way to back home from the gym, and I keep getting these questions on Periscope, but I get them on Instagram and shit like that all the time. I get a lot of private messages too that ask me, Jerry, what is the best fat burner? Now, first of all, it's implied that somehow this magical pill you're going to take is actually going to burn up fat, like disintegrate it. I don't know where that comes from, but basically burning fat means that you're going to use stored body fat as energy. Okay, you're going to access that stored body fat. And for some reason, I think people seem to think the more stemmed out of your skull you get with a fat burner, the better it's going to be for fat loss, which is not true. The best fat burners actually don't have any stems in them whatsoever. Now, let me explain. Clenbuterol, when Clenbuterol came out, that was like the big fat, or T3. Okay, let's start with T3. There's really no jitters with it, no stimulation to the central nervous system, nothing that jacks you up. However, it burns calories indiscriminately between protein and it could be muscle tissue, it could be fat, whatever. Clenbuterol, when Clenbuterol came around, people took it and noticed that it was a pretty good effective fat burner, asthma medication. Now, Clenbuterol hits a certain receptor that if you take Clen, although your hands will get shaky, you can't take Clen and go to the gym and work out like you just took a pre-workout. So it doesn't have that same stimulant kind of effect. Then ephedrine was around. Now, ephedrine has both the stimulant effect and the fat loss like Clenbuterol. So if you take this, you can go have a good workout with it, and it does semi-burn fat. I don't think it's as good as Clenbuterol, but Clenbuterol is definitely the better in those two. Now, the two best fat burners that ever fucking hit the market in the history of fucking fat loss, the first one is the king of fat loss, is DNP. Now, it's not a supplement, it's actually a drug. This stuff makes the body not able to produce ATP efficiently, and it basically boosts metabolism, I believe, anywhere from 50 to 80% while you're on this shit. That's what makes it so effective. So it's a boost in metabolism, not a stimulation. Like, you take it, you don't get stimmed out of your skull, you don't feel any stimulant effect. You can sleep, actually you want to sleep like all the time on it. And the other one was Cardarine, which was actually pulled off the market. Now, it got pulled off the market because it's not a SARM, but it's been grouped with the SARMs, which is a big trademark infringement, blah, blah, blah. This works by getting the body to rather use body fat than muscle glycogen. So basically keeps the muscle glycogen stored and somehow gets the body to access fat. Again, not a stimulant. So now we look at this and say, well, why do all the supplements that are fat burners on the market, why are they loaded with so many fucking stimulants? And I think that honestly, there's some science behind it, which, I've seen caffeine, accesses some body fat, and, yohimbine, all this shit hits this beta receptor, whatever the case may be. But here's the downfall. When you're taking these stims and you're stimming yourself so much, and you're taking a pre-workout on top of it, because, most of these things, well, some of them will stim you up enough, but most people take a pre-workout with it. Your body's adrenal system and your central nervous system takes a fucking beating, okay? And I can't stress this enough. A lot of people are not sleeping well. They're stimmed out of their fucking skulls. They're tired during the day. They're popping pills to stay awake. It's a fucking nightmare mess with all these stims. Now, the reason why they're in the products, these fat burners, is because the fucking fat burners don't work. If the best fat loss fucking things ever in the history of the planet had no stims, then why the fuck aren't there more non-stim fat burners out there? Well, one, it's hard to get something that's that powerful that doesn't have a stim in it. And B, just like the Cardarine you don't feel, the DNP you feel. Like, you feel it when you take it, you get warmer. The Cardarine you don't feel, you're just taking it and all of a sudden getting leaner. So some people would, say, oh, I took Cardarine for a week, I didn't feel anything, I stopped. Well, take it for 4 or 5 weeks, all of a sudden you're like, fuck, I'm leaner at the end of 4 or 5 weeks, holy shit. But you don't feel anything. A lot of these companies will put out a product that's a fat burner, put a stim in it so you fucking feel something from it. So right away, so that you're like, oh my God, I'm really warm, I'm burning fat. No, you're fucking not burning fat because you're warm. Your fucking body fucking temperature is elevated. That doesn't necessarily mean you're fucking burning body fat. Doesn't mean that at all. Oh my God, I took it, I had so much energy, I'm burning body fat. No, that's not what that is. It's a stimulant to your central nervous system. It's not fat loss. You don't feel jacked up to the roof when you're fucking losing fat. That's not how that works. You know, there are definitely tried and true old-fashioned supplements like L-Carnitine, which helps shuttle shuttle fat to be used as fuel more efficiently. If you're deficient in L-Carnitine, obviously this is going to help out. Even if you're not deficient, sometimes more L-Carnitine just helps out like a motherfucker to help you get leaner. You don't feel anything. No stimulant effect. You don't feel it from the dose. You can't overdose on it. You can't fucking kill yourself on it, but, you know, it helps. It definitely helps lose fat. So what is the answer? The answer is if you can find certain things that are non-stim, that work from different pathways, that will all get the body to use stored body fat for energy rather than use glycogen, stabilize blood sugar, transport fatty acids. Those are the types of things that when you put them all together in one product, that is what is going to fucking get the most amount of fat loss in the shortest amount of time and not stim you out of your fucking skull. Now, here's the problem I have with the stims. Once your adrenal system and your central nervous system get whacked, guess what? You're not really going to be burning as much fat as you would have. Your fucking cortisol level, and I know I've talked about this before, but your cortisol level will rise enough to where your body, you're going to notice that you're tearing down muscle tissue because your central nervous system is fucking fried. You're essentially overtraining your central nervous system with stims. And you see this very often with people that, you know, are high dose caffeine users, stuff like that. And plus, you're taking a pre-workout. Now, a lot of these products that are these fat burners that have stims in them, if you took a 300 milligram dose of fucking caffeine at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., and then you had to work out at 2 o'clock, or let's say 4 o'clock you worked out with your fucking pre-workout. You take your second dose of fat burner, let's say 1:30, somewhere around there. You think you're going to come down for 300 milligrams of caffeine in time to take your fucking pre-workout to get to the gym? Like, you're stacking stims on top of stims on top of stims. An ideal product would be able to be stacked with your pre-workout. Your pre-workout's goal is not to burn fat. Your pre-workout's goal is to stimulate your central nervous system enough to get in there when you're tired to get a better workout for a stimulus to make muscle growth occur. That's what the pre-workout is for. And if you take that out of it and you're running with just the caffeine or whatever the fuck it is that you took at 1:30, which is wearing off by the time 4 o'clock comes, guess what? Workout's not as efficient. If you stack the pre-workout on top of that, guess what? 2 stimmed out of your fucking skull, you don't sleep that night. So you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think people think deep enough into this. They just literally start picking things off the internet and taking them, not really thinking logically, how do these things work? How do they stack together? Are there any fucking adverse reactions when you stack them together? Or even stuff like, how much caffeine am I getting in a day? You know, I've seen people taking in 1,000 milligrams of caffeine a day and they're complaining they can't fucking sleep. And they're not fucking losing fat and they're not gaining muscle. They're just fucking stagnant. And then, you know, you start asking them like, well, what about this? What about that? They're like, oh, my diet's in check. My training's in check. Everything's in check. But you're on 1,000 milligrams of caffeine a day. You don't think that could have something to do with it? Oh, there's Yohimbe in there too. Well, it's fucking Yohimbe too. What else is in there? You know what I mean? Like, there's different things that are fucking different types of caffeines that are in products now. And they're stacking tons of them. And I'm watching people, they say take 1 scoop. I'm watching people take 2 or 3 scoops. You know, a friend of mine, when Jack 3D came out, started with 3 scoops. Motherfucker took the first one, did a couple sets, went out in the parking lot, threw up. Because he fucking started with too much. So I know for a fact if these 300 milligram doses in fat burners are being taken, you're supposed to take 2 a day. Some people take a 3, some people take a 4. They're upping the dose as their tolerance goes up, and they're really fucking beating the shit out of their bodies, and they're wondering why shit's not happening. I mean, you're basically turning on all these negative feedback loops so that your body doesn't fucking respond, and then you're, you know, blaming it on the fucking products. Well, those products were never really made for you to lose fat. Those products were made to be sold for money and made to have a stim in it so you feel something, so you think it's working, so that you continue to take it. And essentially, the more that you take it, the more stimmed out of your skull you are throughout the day, all day long. It's like being on a caffeine junkie. It's like being on coffee. You get the people who have to drink 2 pots of coffee a day just to function, or they can't even get out of bed in the morning unless they have their fucking latte or whatever. You know, it's the same thing. You're getting hooked on a product that keeps you going throughout the day, that eventually makes you more tired by whacking your central nervous system, your adrenal glands, to where you now need that product just to function because you're so fucked up from taking the product. Pretty fucked up, right? So in closing, guys, you know, the best fat burners ever made had no stims in them, okay? The best fat burner to me, diet. That is the best fat burner that's out there. You get on your fucking diet, you bust your ass in your diet, you fucking do your cardio, you train hard, and, you know, when something else comes along, like Cardarine or replacement or something like that, that does something like that, that's not a stim, that is going to be the best fat burner. Bios3training@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.bios3training.com is a blog. I'm Bios3 and I approve this message, and we're out.